also in the hearts of all Americans. May we never forget the sacrifices of all those who gave their lives for the cause of freedom. In the name of honor, duty, and sacrifice for God and country, amen.
Please remain standing for the United States Coast Guard Band and the Air Force Singing Sergeants Chorus in singing of our national anthem. Please be seated. Distinguished guests, General Charles Q. Brown, Jr.
There are words engraved in the marble apse above me, words spoken by President Abraham Lincoln during his Gettysburg Address. We here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain. We're here today to honor our fallen for their ultimate sacrifice and pay tribute to their families, and to reaffirm our commitment to ensure they did not die in vain. Mr. President, Madam Vice President, Second General Inhofe, and Secretary Austin, fellow Joint Chiefs of Staff, spouses, distinguished guests, veterans, fellow Americans, and most importantly, all Gold Star families. Welcome to you all. We gather here on Memorial Day to honor those who were wearing the uniform when they gave their lives for our nation and its ideals, so that we can spend each day doing what we love, the ultimate measure of freedom. Thanks to our fallen, our nation lives on. Thanks to our fallen, their unwavering commitment, their dedication and sacrifice. Thanks to our fallen, the bedrock of liberty we've privileged to share remains unshaken. We stand here in Arlington National Cemetery, the final resting place for over 400,000 of our fallen. Every stone marker represents someone who wore the uniform, who answered the call of duty, who, when the nation asked, who will go for us, they responded, send me. Over 1 million of our service members fought and perished to defend our country and its people. When snow fell over the Delaware River, when North and South turned against one another, when bombs dropped from the sky over Pearl Harbor, and machine gun fire strafed the beaches of Normandy and Iwo Jima, and when the Chosin Valley froze over, and when terrorists breached our skies, our service members said, send me. Our nation is forever grateful to those who gave their lives, and to their families who feel the pain of their loss every day. All their birthdays uncelebrated, wedding anniversaries and family milestones unobserved, baseball and soccer games, recitals and concerts missed. Each of our service members who raised their right hand and took an oath to defend our ideals had a family who sacrificed alongside them. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sons and daughters, who feel their sacrifice every single day, their loss heavy, their grief unyielding, their love enduring. It is up to us to support the families left behind, to provide comfort and solace in their time of need, and to celebrate the life and contributions of their loved one. It is up to us to further the cause for which our fallen died, to uphold the freedoms for which they fought. On a cloudy Wednesday day in July of 1863, President Lincoln stood among death and devastation and delivered a call to duty. We here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain. He continued, it is up for us, the living, to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead, we take increased devotion to the cause for which they gave their last full measure of devotion. Thank you for being here this Memorial Day. To those we lost in service to our nation, may God bless our fallen, may God bless their families, and may God continue to bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Distinguished guests, the United States Coast Guard Band and the Singing Sergeants Chorus will perform American Anthem. Distinguished guests, the Honorable Lloyd J. Austin III.
Mr. President, Madam Vice President, and Mr. Emhoff, General Brown and Ms. Brown, I am honored to be here with you. Distinguished guests, service members, my fellow veterans, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for letting us share this Memorial Day with you. To our Gold Star family members and to everyone mourning a fallen American hero today, please know that we bow our heads in sorrow along with you. We know that you live with loss every day and not just Memorial Day. I had the privilege of serving in the United States Army for more than 4 decades. And every Memorial Day, I remember those who gave all in the defense of our country, including the battle served and fought alongside me. We got through, they didn't. And that pain will never go away. I could tell their stories for hour after hour. But for today, I hope that the story of one fallen American hero may stand for so many more. So on this Memorial Day, my thoughts are with the family of U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Stephen Booker of Apollo, Pennsylvania. Staff Sergeant Booker was a tank commander in the 3rd Infantry Division during Operation Iraqi Freedom in 2003. His company commander once said that Sergeant Booker looked, acted, and sounded like the Abrams tank that he commanded. He embodied the power and the pride of the United States Army. And during the race towards Baghdad, Sergeant Booker's unit came under fire. He rushed to protect his teammates and his platoon's flank. In the heat of the fight, he even fired back with his own personal weapon, lying exposed on top of his tank turret for mile after mile. Staff Sergeant Booker was one of the first Americans killed in the Iraq War. And I know firsthand how tough the fighting was that day. It's only fitting that the Army has named its newest armored combat vehicle the M10 Booker. That name honors both Staff Sergeant Booker and Private Robert Booker of Nebraska, who was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor for his stunning battlefield heroism in Tunisia in 1943 during World War II. America's security depends on the bravery of people like Staff Sergeant Booker and Private Booker, and on the courage and character of our service members. And it depends on the stamina and strength of their families and loved ones. We know how much our troops and their families do every day in so many unsung ways. And we know the dangers. Defending our republic carries risk, and that goes beyond the dangers of combat. By necessity, U.S. military training is hard and challenging. Our operations worldwide can put our troops in harm's way. And we still lose too many of our service members and veterans to suicide. So our troops and their families don't just sacrifice during wartime. Our military families know the long deployments and the painful absences. They know the pride that never fades and the worry that never leaves. So to our Blue Star and Gold Star families, you make our national defense possible. Our arms and technology are the envy of the world. But in the end, America's greatest strategic asset will always be our people. So let us always remember our fallen heroes. Let us always strive to defend the democracy for which they fought and died. They did their duty, and we must. Ladies and gentlemen, our Commander-in-Chief has always stood up for our troops, our military families, and our veterans. It is my honor to introduce the President of the United States.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please be seated. 160 years ago this month, in the midst of the Civil War, the first American was laid to rest at these hallowed grounds. Private William Chrisman, a farm worker from Pennsylvania, had enlisted just 7 weeks before. There was no formal ceremony to consecrate this new sanctuary, no fanfare. It came at a turning point in the war. As fighting shifted east, the casualties quickly mounted in the bloody, grinding campaign. Over the next year, William would be joined in death, as he was in life, by his brother in arms in his final resting place. And these hills around us would be transformed from a former slave plantation into a national shine for those American heroes who died for freedom, who died for us. My fellow Americans, Jill, Vice President Harris, the second gentleman, Emhoff, Secretary Austin, General Brown, most importantly, the veterans and service members, families, and survivors. We gather at this sacred place at this solemn moment to remember, to honor the sacrifice of the hundreds of thousands of women and men who've given their lives to this nation. Each one, literally a chain and a link in the chain of honor, stretching back to our founding days. Each one bound by commitment, not to a place, not to a person, not to a president, but to an idea, unlike any idea in human history, the idea of the United States of America. Today, we bear witness to the price they paid. Every white stone across these hills, and every military cemetery and churchyard across America, a father, a mother, a son, a daughter, a brother, a sister, a spouse, a neighbor, an American. To everyone who has lost and loved someone in the service of our country. To everyone with a loved one still missing or unaccounted for. I know how hard it can be. It can reopen that black hole in the middle of your chest, bringing you back to the exact moment you got that phone call, heard that knock on the door, or held the hand when the last breath was taken. I know it hurts. The hurt is still real, still raw. This week marks 9 years since I lost my son, Beau. Our losses are not the same. He didn't perish in the battlefield. He was a cancer victim from a consequence of being in the Army in Iraq for a year next to a burn pit. A major in the U.S. Army National Guard, living and working like too many besides that burn pit. And as it is for so many of you, the pain of his loss is with me every day as it is with you. Still sharp, still clear. But so is the pride I feel in his service, as if I can still hear him saying, "It's my duty, Dad, it's my duty." Duty. That was the code that my son lived by and the creed all of you live by. A creed that generations of service members have followed into battle. On the grounds around us lie fallen heroes from every major conflict in history. To defend our independence, to preserve our union, to defeat fascism, build powerful alliances, forged in fires of 2 world wars. Members of the greatest generation, who 80 years ago next week took to the beaches of Normandy and liberated a continent and literally saved the world. Others who stood against communism in Korea and Vietnam, and not far from here in Section 60, lie over 1,000 7,054 women and men who made the ultimate sacrifice in Afghanistan and Iraq, who signed up to defeat terrorists, protect our homeland after 9/11. Decade after decade, tour after tour, these warriors fought for our freedom and the freedom of others. Because freedom has never been guaranteed,